If you hear me!
What's good, people, and welcome to our first episode of Holler If You Hear Me Hot Takes, a brand new show where we've cherry-picked some of Reddit's wildest takes and we'll be deciding whether they belong on a WrestleMania card or in a dumpster at the back of the Performance Centre. I'm your humble host, Fraz, and joining me this week I have the ring historian, Dirty Dave. Unfortunately, the kayfabe assassin is at work tonight, so he's not able to join us, but I'm sure he will take great pleasure in watching this back and critiquing us immensely. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill by now. Hit the like button, smash the bell for notifications, and if you're not subscribed, please do so because we appreciate all your support. Without further ado, Dave, are you ready?
Yes.
I said, are you ready?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't really caught the gist of the show, me and Dave have gone on to the interweb and basically just picked some questions or hot takes, shall we say, that people have commented online, which I thought were quite amusing. Do you want to get into the first one?
In some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I'm very interested to see some of these. I know we've had to whittle it down because, as we know, the interweb has opinions everywhere.
Yeah, I know. There are some bloody wild takes. The first one is to do with Roman Reigns. I haven't included the users on there. I don't want to diss anyone. This is just purely for content, but the first comment is, you lot really get excited for Roman again. He'll come back, tag with Jay against Braun and Bronson, get a hot tag, hit a spear, and win. I just don't get it.
Well, sounds like he does get it.
I think it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, we've spoken about it on several videos. Roman Reigns is not going to be around long enough for him to do anything significant in a program. Well, we've got 3 weeks to SummerSlam. Not really enough time for him to interject himself in a title scene. And if he does, you kind of know he's going to lose because he's going to piss off for a couple of months afterwards.
Exactly. And what? So we're not allowed to like someone unless they're what? The absolute top person. So what? We're not supposed to like anyone else on the card. I mean, he's an attraction. You know, he's
Well, he's one of the. Surely he's the biggest attraction. Right?
Yeah, he's Brock, he's Taker, he's Andre. You know, he's booked as an attraction. You know, and you don't have to be the champ, and you don't have to be in a title picture. But you know, if this person's right, and he's in a tag match with Jay, Braun, and Bronson, should we just think about that for a second? You're going to put the guy who's the most important guy in the industry for the last 4 years, and you're going to put him in with the 2 biggest up-and-coming stars that are going to potentially run the company for the next 20 years in Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. What does that do for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, having them in this monstrous marquee tag match at SummerSlam with not only the OTC, but also a recently former World Heavyweight Champion in Jey Uso? How is that not going to help those two? And how is that not going to be awesome? Okay, don't like Roman, but that match is going to be great. And Roman being in that match is going to do phenomenal for all the participants involved, for the fact that we're in a stadium on a 2-night SummerSlam card. And yeah, it doesn't damage the long-term storytelling or the ideas we've got for both titles heading out of SummerSlam. Because, yeah, you're right. This year is not the Roman Reigns year. This is not the year of Roman Reigns. It's not even the year of Cody Rhodes. It's the year of Seth Rollins and John Cena to a degree. Obviously, we may have to take a bit of a twist now. But, yeah, I, for one, bring him back. Put him in a tag match. I can't wait for that tag match. As long as everybody looks better coming out of the tag match than they do when they went in, I also don't care who wins. I'm going to enjoy that tag match. That is a main event level tag match.
Yeah. Yeah, well said there. I think the entrance alone will be worth the entrance fee. So
100%.
I'll move on to the next one. Triple H is putting in the work, building up this card for SummerSlam. I am much more excited this year than last year.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you go back and watch some of our videos, our recap videos, our weekly videos, I said how nervous I am about SummerSlam being in a big stadium. I mean, it just held the Club World Cup final, actually. PSG and Chelsea were in the MetLife Stadium on Sunday. It's a big stadium, and WWE's never sold out a stadium for SummerSlam. Usually the camera side is all blacked off. So I was nervous that we're not building and giving people something to get their teeth into for a longer period of time to build to SummerSlam. However, after watching specifically Raw, I've completely changed my mind. I think we're already looking like an absolute monster SummerSlam, so I can't agree with this guy more, or this person more. I mean, a very quick rundown. We're looking at Cena versus Rhodes 2, Gunther versus Punk, Io, Rhea, and Naomi. I mean, that's going to be another 5-star. Tiffy and Jay Cargill, Becky and Lyra, Jelly Roll and Orton, Jelly Orton versus Drew and Logan, and potentially Roman and Jay versus Braun and Reed, and that's all pretty much come out of Raw, and we've got SmackDown this week, which I think is going to contribute massively to the SummerSlam card as well. So I'm very excited, and I can barely remember last year's SummerSlam.
Yeah, same. I think you hit the nail on the head there. SmackDown's got lots to offer. I cannot wait to see what they do with the tag titles. Jacob and Solo is going to be good. Who knows what else can come from that? I mean, surely Aleister Black's got a feature on there. On Raw, you've got Sheamus and Rusev. I'd love to see. I think they've got a rematch, haven't they, on Raw soon? But if they do some kind of stipulation match to blow out the feud.
Yeah, I mean, a no contest in that match, and then they get booked with a stipulation for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean,
there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, so despite the initial hesitation as to having a 2-night card, it's looking very good. Next comment is actually from a friend of mine who I work with, Mr. Troy Palmer. And this was a question directed mainly to you and Andy, but Andy's not here tonight.
Oh.
Randy Orton is fucking huge. Do you prefer Randy now having a huge face or Randy previously when he was slender?
Okay, honestly, I don't really mind. I don't think anybody stays the same. And I think horses for courses. So to just give you my personal reaction, for me, when Randy Orton first came in, maybe not quite when he first came in, but certainly at Evolution, right at the beginning, where he was quite slim, very natural looking. I was a teenager, so late teenager.
Yeah, about 5 years ago, yeah.
Last week. So the idea that I could go to the gym and potentially look quite, it looked more realistic figure. So that was quite cool. But also Randy was, smaller, more agile, did different moves. I think he looks more like a wrestler now than he ever has. His style has changed. And I mean, if you watch our recap show for Saturday night's main event, it's a slower pace, Orton, but it's not plodding, it's methodical, it's deliberate, it's intense. Every clothesline means something, every punch means something. Orton is so believable. He's the most believable wrestler, I think, on the planet. Nobody punches or kicks or sells or executes anything better than Randy Orton. He's the best wrestler out there. So yeah, I don't care. Really, I don't think he's missed a beat. I think he's wrestling a different style because he needs to, but I think it works.
Yeah.
Do I miss the fact he's not 20 years old and doing some more stuff? Yeah, of course, but that's just because he's not 20 years old. Having an
Father
extra,
time catches up with us
yeah,
all, you know.
an extra £20 here or there, I don't think has affected him in a negative way at all. Right, so, but if I had to pick one, we'd all rather be 20 years old, wouldn't we? So I suppose I would probably say that. But yeah, in terms of um, his current look and style, haven't swayed me to be upset with him. Let's put it that way.
Well, for the 1000th time, Troy, and I'll do this online, I like curly burly men, so I like Randy being big and chunky. Next comment. Another women's triple threat with 2-3 participants we saw at Mania 3 months ago. Becky and Lyra rematch, Cena Cody rematch. Get it the fuck together, Paul. I
Okay,
think I kind of know what your answer's going to be.
I find this quite interesting. So the triple threat, the women's triple threat match that stole the show at WrestleMania, that's like 4.5 stars from Dave Meltzer or whatever. And personally, I'd give that 5 star. It was absolutely fantastic. You know, that match I will remember like I remember Steamboat and Savage. So there's an implication there that they didn't like that and they wouldn't want to see something as good as that again. So I'm already perplexed as to why that's a negative. But okay, we'll come back to that. Becky and Lyra rematch. Both are fantastic in the ring. I am a little bit disappointed that it's just a straight up one-on-one match. Because I just don't think we've got the payback from Bailey. Bailey's come back as a face. I have a feeling she's going to properly turn here at SummerSlam and properly align with Becky.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not sure why this is just a single match. So I can see that. But again, you know, if we take everything at face value, nothing, you know, anything could be good or bad. So let's see what happens. And Cena and Cody rematch. Well, it's quite often SummerSlam revisits things from Mania. That's not a new thing anyway. And ultimately, these are your two biggest guys, and we need to pack a stadium 2 nights in a row. So you've got to have your two most relevant people involved. Who else is Cody Rhodes going to fight that's going to put anywhere near 60,000 fans
Bums in seats.
in the stadium? And the same with John Cena. So, yeah, it's a rematch. And I mean, I'm all for a best of three here because Cena's won. I could have him win twice. And then Cody finally wins later on. It wouldn't bother me seeing that. Why? They're great matches. No, it's the biggest match you can have. It was the biggest match you could have at WrestleMania, and it's the biggest match you can have at SummerSlam. It's going to put bums in seats, and I'm pretty sure you're going to watch it, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy all the matches that you've just sort of almost shit on. But we'll see.
And one thing that you haven't mentioned there is that everyone was disappointed with the Cody and Cena match at Mania. So it's a chance for them to rewrite some wrongs, perhaps.
Quite possibly.
I agree in terms of seeing Becky and Lyra again for the fourth time is possibly dishwater. However, they've got chemistry and it'll be a banger. And you know the women's triple threat. I am loving that.
Well, I'm already thinking that's going to steal the show, to be honest. So I'm so excited for that.
Unless Sheamus and Rusev fight, obviously.
Well, hopefully not for the women's title.
Maybe not. Maybe. Who knows? Return of Lana. Next comment. The Roman Reigns we have had for the past 4 years is the greatest character of all time.
Wow.
That's a statement that I'm not sure I agree with that.
No, I don't. So, what I would say is he's probably the most relevant character in a very, very, very long time, which does make him very, very important. I can't say he's the greatest character of all time yet. I don't think you can judge that until, well, I mean,
His
that's
career is over.
until his career is over, and also, but even then, it all depends on what's happening at the time. Um, Andre, Taker, Reigns. I mean, I don't think there's a. I don't think you need to argue which one of them is better than the other. I think the fact that you mention all three of them together is such a unique and amazing thing in itself.
Yeah, but character, aren't we talking about Austin? We're talking about Rock. We're talking about Triple H.
Well,
You're talking about attractions. Like he's saying the greatest character of all time. I mean, you're talking about every single person that's stepped foot in the squared circle.
yeah,
That's a fucking bold statement to make.
yeah. I mean, he was protected in a completely different way than anyone has been protected. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but each era works differently. The Attitude Era was all about pumping people out as much as you could. So Austin would be on Raw 3 or 4 times. Rock would be on SmackDown 4 or 5 times to get those incredible electric reactions. Reigns was there once a month or a couple of times a month. That worked. So it's very difficult to judge. I don't know. Yeah, I sort of went down an attraction route. I think as a character, he's got the longevity as a character. The Rock didn't stay the same for 4 years. Austin didn't stay the same for 4 years. Reigns managed to pull that character off probably longer than anyone apart from maybe Brock Lesnar or John Cena. But I mean,
Taker. I mean, Taker hasn't really. Well, okay, American Badass aside.
Well, he was the
Taker's
dead
been
man.
the dead man, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think that's very, very difficult. I think he's the best
Horses for
character.
courses.
He's the best character in the business in the last 5 years, without a shadow of a doubt. For me, he's up there. He's up there with Brock, Taker, Andre, as as one of the best attractions ever.
Yeah.
Because they've just he brought so many more people back to the product or to the product in the first place, and he's been that amazing character at their most profitable time and at the most sellouts in the arenas. We're not talking about 5,000 arenas. We're talking about taking SummerSlam to stadiums and going all around the world, Saudi Arabia, Australia. So yeah, I mean he's up there, but I have him up there as an attraction over a character.
Next one is going to really fire you up. Ric Flair is overrated. His best days were over by the mid-90s.
Well, it's an interesting way to phrase the question, isn't it? So his wrestling career started what, 70s, late 60s, 70s. So I'm not sure what I'm not sure what we're implying by his best days were over by the mid-90s. Yeah, I mean, Ric Flair would probably tell you his best days were over in the mid-90s. Ric Flair would probably tell you his best days were over by 1991. But he did manage to have a good 18-month stint in WWE until he got his problem with his hearing, and he couldn't compete at that level. So he went back to WCW. Yeah, I mean, did he? He won the title a couple more times in WCW. He had a fantastic match with Hogan at Bash at the Beach, I think 1994, in WCW. WCW's best ever pay-per-view up to that point. So yeah, 94, mid-90s. Yeah, I'd agree. His best days were behind him by the mid-90s, 100%. Is he overrated? Well, possibly if people don't understand enough about him. So if you haven't watched him when he used to weigh 300 pounds, and you haven't watched him change his wrestling style and change into Ric Flair and the Nature Boy and win, technically 22 world titles, and be a real world's champion. He went all around the world. Puerto Rico, he took that title, he took the NWA title to every other territory, in every other country, and wrestled, and he was the main event over their territories champion. No one else can say they've ever done that. Yeah, there's an argument to say once you've seen one Ric Flair match, you've seen them all. But at the same time, he could go out in the same arena 3 nights in a row and have a 1 hour Broadway match, and the arena be sold out every 3 nights. They wouldn't think, oh, I saw that last night, I won't come back tonight. They went back. How do you gauge overrated? I don't know. The amount of people.
I think it's just a simple answer, isn't it? Yes or no. And I don't think Ric Flair's overrated at all.
I don't think he's over. I don't think.
I don't think it's overrated.
at all.
I don't think that this mid-90s thing, his best days were over by the mid-90s. Well, not at all. I don't think his best days were over by mid-90s. He had an amazing match with Taker at Mania. The stuff with Evolution was powerful. His post-mid-90s stuff in WCW was great. Like his match with Michaels, his retirement match, it still evoked emotion.
Oh yeah, he's still Ric Flair. He just wasn't.
Well, this is the thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
I disagree with both parts of the statement. Him being overrated and his best run was over by the mid-90s, as you said.
Well, I suppose he was more consistently the. I suppose what I think this person means is, he wasn't the man after the mid-90s. He was still a fantastic asset. He was still great, but he wasn't the man, Ric Flair. So I'd agree with that. But yeah, I don't know. Bit weird there. Not quite sure really where we're going with that. But I mean, he's clearly mental now. But
yes, I'm not condoning any of his actions that he does now. But that leads us on nicely to the next question, which is WrestleMania 25 has only the third best Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match next to Bad Blood and WrestleMania 26, but all matches are 10 out of 10.
No, I massively disagree with this. WrestleMania 25 had the best story build up for these two that any of their matches ever had. Heaven versus Hell, Michaels coming out from the ceiling in white, Taker coming up through the stage in black. The closest to perfect match you'll ever see. The only slight cock up was Jimmy Snuka's son didn't catch Taker when he should have, so you can't even really blame Taker or Michaels for that. And you did. It was just for the streak. It was just the two greatest. Mr. WrestleMania versus the streak of WrestleMania. I think the thing about WrestleMania 26 for me was, one, Michaels wore some horrendous brown trousers, and two, either the streak's breaking or Michaels' career is over. And I wasn't ready for either of those two things to happen. So that just puts that little sour note, because you're a bit upset because it's the end of Shawn Michaels or it's the end of the streak.
Did you cry?
I was not happy with either of those. And also, the crowd wasn't as good, the arena wasn't as good, the commentators weren't as good. Not really anything about 26 as a WrestleMania was better than 25 anyway. So yeah, 25 is better. Jim Ross.
You didn't answer my question. Did you shed a tear?
I may have been slightly emotional when they tombstone Shawn. But I was less emotional because he wore these horrendous brown trousers. Whereas, like I say, WrestleMania 25 was perfect. Yeah, Michaels in white and gold, Taker in black and purple. The build up to it, everything about it was absolutely fantastic. Just watch the SmackDowns on the build up. Michaels coming around from the stage and super kicking Taker when he's holding his hand up at the end of a match. It was just great. Bad Blood, yeah. Do you know what? The best Hell in a Cell match ever. 40 minutes of Shawn Michaels getting thrown around and smashed to bits by The Undertaker. Great match. Can't take anything away from that. Absolutely
Was that
phenomenal.
the match that put Michaels out?
No. This is the match that Kane debuted.
Was it?
It was Bad Blood 97. Yeah, your mum went and bought it for me on video.
I thought that was Austin. No, maybe not.
No. No, Austin and Kane had a first blood match. That shouldn't have been in a Hell in a Cell. It's just they lowered the Hell in a Cell because Mankind and Taker had a Hell in a Cell match before.
Yeah. Which was way through Mankind off the top, right?
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, we're looking at 1997 versus what, 2009. So they were younger. They could, it was great. I think the guy's right. It's 10 out of 10 all the way. for those 3
But
matches. But
25,
I
25 was...
I could watch WrestleMania 25 every day. Everything about it was perfect for me.
Okay. Last hot take. Long ass title reigns are more often way more boring and hurtful to the overall division than shorter reigns.
Oh, it's horses for courses, isn't it? I mean, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I think you have to go with what's popular at the time. You know, if you'd have asked me at any point in my life, would anyone have got close to Hogan's 4 years title reign again? I'd have said no. And then Roman Reigns comes along and almost does it. So it's just one of those things. I think if you can do it and it works, it's okay. Don't do it. Don't try and do it. And if it's not working, you know, you've got to change it because you're running a multi-conglomerate company that needs to make money and needs to put bums in seats. I don't feel overtly passionate about either. There's been some champions that deserve to be champion longer, but I mean, how do we quantify that? Do we quantify that as fantastic technical wrestler? Do we just say fantastic character, person that was really over at the time, best ring attire, best what? What determines who should have a long reign and who shouldn't, and what determines the length of the reign as being important at all? Kane had the title for 24 hours. Do we remember that, or do we remember that Kane beat Austin in a first blood match? That's what we remember. We remember that Kane beat Austin in a first blood match at the King of the Ring, made Austin bleed, and won the title. I don't think the length of time is relevant. You can have good short reigns, bad short reigns, good long reigns, bad long reigns.
I don't know. I think in the moment, like, you would probably say Roman Reigns could have lost that title to various people, and you'd argue the toss that, why has he won again? Why has he kept the title for so long? But in hindsight, now you look at that title reign and you go, absolutely the right decision, because the payoff at the end of it was worth it. Then for me, I am one that is definitely more interested in those shorter reigns because it's nice to see someone different with the title. I don't particularly like it. We'll take Jey Uso, for example. Okay, perhaps it's modern day bias, but I didn't mind him losing the title to someone different. I just didn't want him to drop it to Gunther because we'd already seen that. If he had dropped it to Seth or to Punk or to Drew or to anyone, it would have been interesting. But the fact of the matter is that he lost it to someone who held the title before him was less interesting. That's not to say that I'm not into Cena, for example, who's held the title for 3 or 4 months now and possibly will to the end of the year, is a bad thing. I just think change sometimes is good when you're invested in the character that they put up against them. So, it's all relative, isn't it? Like I say, horses for courses. So my last two are ones that you sent me. And these are not really hot takes. These are more questions. So the first one is, which announced team was your favourite? Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon, Corey Graves and Michael Cole, and Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay. You have the floor, Mr. Wright, and I will retort.
Oh, that is so hard because again, we're talking horses for courses. What's popular at the time, you know.
Well, this is your personal choice now. It's not subjective or objective or whatever Andy's done on his his World Heavyweight Championship selection of John Cena.
My heart goes to
Andy.
No, my heart does not go to Andy. I love him too, but not like that. My heart goes to Bobby and Gorilla.
Does it?
Because
You're an old head.
It's not necessarily about that. It's the fact that I was
It's
young. It's the fact that I was young at the time. I learned a bit of comedy from Bobby. I learned lots of words and language from Gorilla. Um, they made you feel the match. They told a very good story. Now, they weren't great at describing the moves per se, and also wrestling wasn't bringing moves, wasn't doing the same moves that they are now. But, if you listen to Gorilla and Bobby at WrestleMania 7 for the Savage Warrior match,
Mm.
90% of the match is clotheslines because it's the Ultimate Warrior. But the passion, everybody's crying after that match. The 1992 Royal Rumble with Ric Flair. I mean, if you want a masterclass in how to present, and I think that's what we've got to remember that the commentators are doing, they're presenting this. If you don't watch that Royal Rumble and come out of that saying, okay, Ric Flair lasted an hour and 3 minutes and won the world title. If you don't come out of that going, that is the greatest commentary performance I've ever heard from anyone, then I don't know. I don't know what you want your commentators to do, because Bobby Heenan selling the Flair. You've got to be fair to Flair. There's a bit where halfway through, Flair's the only one in the ring, and he's saying, "Ring the bell, it's over. He's won the title. There's no one else." It's just comedy gold. Piper helps Flair at one point, and he says, "Oh, thank you, thank you. It's not a kilt. It's not a skirt. It's a kilt. I'll never forget this." And then Piper turns around and then ends up hitting Flair, and he's like, "Oh, you skirt wearing freak, you hippie freak." It's just quick, witty. It's amazing. And him and Gorilla fed off each other. They didn't take things sort of to heart. They obviously had a rough idea what they were going to say. They fed each other really, really well, and it was good. It was almost like a school teacher and dealing with a pupil. Jim Ross is the best play-by-play commentator ever, and he was there for my teenage years with Jerry Lawler. But to be fair, I love Jesse and Vince. I love Jesse and Gorilla. The first 6 WrestleManias were those two.
But you've gone for Bobby and
I've,
Gorilla.
I think just for memories, I can go back and watch any of their pay-per-views that they commentated on, and that's a different level of passion and emotion. And they make
I disagree.
they
Strongly,
make it they make it all about the wrestlers in the ring. And
It's
that's what
Tony
that's
Schiavone and
what I
Mike
love.
Tenay. It's Tony Schiavone and Mike
Shut up.
Tenay. No,
They, they were
this
in a
was a close
three-man
one.
booth anyway, to be fair.
This was a close one because Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and God rest his soul, Michael Mongo, whatever his name is,
Mongo,
Mongo
yeah.
McMichael.
Oh, and Bobby
that's it.
Heenan, remember, as well.
And Bobby Heenan as well. So me and my brother would watch Nitro because we didn't have Sky. So I grew up on those guys, but then when we did get Sky, it's all about Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. All the best, most famous. Oh, you goddamn son of a bitch.
Well,
Austin. It's all about Jim Ross, but Jerry Lawler as well. I mean, it's just funny as fuck. And the interaction you got from the pair was magic. So for me, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, I get what you're saying. I would have gone for Jesse and Vince, to be honest.
I just don't think you'd
Out
have
of
got.
the out of the two, but
You just wouldn't have got Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler behaving like that if you hadn't have had Gorilla and Bobby doing the 80s. They were the 90s version and they were the 80s version. So Bobby and Gorilla nailed that late 80s, early 90s for what the product was and what people wanted. And then Lawler and Ross were the same in the late 90s, early 2000s.
yeah,
Lawler's playing this heel, ex-wrestler manager, rooting for all the baddies and making jokes and silly snide comments about the goodies. That was Bobby. And of course Jim Ross was just far more technical than Gorilla. But they're very, very close for me, those two. They're very, 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 very close. I just went with the originals because literally
it's
just because of
fair
that.
play, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, the only one I could argue, Shivani and Mike Tenay were never a duo. They were always in a 3-man booth, like you say, with Mongo or Dusty or Bobby Heenan,
Eric Bischoff.
and Eric Bischoff. But actually, I think if you think back to you and your brother, and even when I watched Nitro, hour number 2 and hour number 3, when Bobby joined the commentary team, because they'd changed the commentators. Tony, Mike, Tenay, and then when Bobby came in, that second half of the show was always better. And that's just the power of Bobby, isn't it? And Corey's great.
I was going to say, if I had to pick one on Andy's behalf, I think it'd probably go Corey Graves and Michael Cole.
Yeah, I do really like Corey Graves. I've got to admit. I just can't. I don't like Michael. I've never liked Michael Cole. I respect Michael Cole. I respect Michael Cole, but I don't like Michael Cole. And for that, I can't. Just because of that, if I don't, I can't personally put him in there.
No, exactly. This is
completely respect him.
I don't think this is obviously it's a bit of fun. So it's not necessarily who's the best commentary team. It's more who is your favourite commentary team.
It's a bit of passion.
And mine is Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Yeah. So final one before we close the show. Pick which is best and which is worst out of this series of events that happened. Hogan's heel turn, the Montreal Screwjob, both of HBK's retirements, the rise and fall of WCW, the rise and fall of ECW, Austin's heel turn, Carly's title reign, the breakup of the Shield, Taker's retirement, Cena's heel turn, and Travis Scott.
So I think the original wording on that was from because it was
millennials. Millennials have gone through
have lived through all of this, and it's I think they want to they were getting at what damaged or hurt you the most out of those, but and then I think if we like you say best and worst, if we spin that and say, well, actually, what one really worked and did you really like, and then what one do you agree that you hated? That's a Struth. That's really, really, really difficult. WrestleMania 26 when Michaels retires was difficult, but then I never thought we'd see him back in the ring again. So I was just pleased that we managed to see him back in the ring because his first retirement wasn't a proper retirement. The screw job hurt me probably the most. I still think that's probably my worst because 60 days later Michaels breaks his back and he's gone anyway. So then I just think we've been robbed of some more Bret Austin matches. He could have done more. And he was happy to not be the champion. He was happy to put people over and do bits and pieces. So I would say the screw job is the worst because it wasn't needed because 60 days later Michaels is out anyway. Probably joint with Austin's heel turn because that really put an end to the Attitude Era and it was game over. That didn't work at WrestleMania 17. The thing I liked the most on that list, or I've grown to like, is Cena's heel turn.
Oh,
I mean, I liked it anyway, but I really like it. Yeah. Wow. So the thing I like, definitely Cena's heel turn.
Andy, if you're watching, what's this timestamp at 38 minutes and 52 seconds? Dave has put John Cena at the top of his list of something. Cena's heel turn. What? Oh, okay. Wow.
If you've watched our prediction shows, you know that I'm really big on if there's a tie, right? You've lost. It's like you're not second. You're bottom, right? No, it's Hogan and Cena's heel turns are the ones I like the best. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I would pick Cena's. I've got to say because at the time, I did think Hogan was ridiculous.
Yeah,
with his beard and just just looked like a grandpa spraying black beard on their face. But I grew to love it, and it was okay. But yeah, Cena.
Okay. Worst for me is out of Carly's title reign or Travis Scott. I mean, I'm not going to be. I mean, the screw job was if we're talking deep and meaningful, the screw job is obviously not great because me and you love Bret Hart, but it did mean there was an excitement factor in seeing what he would do in WCW, so it wasn't the end of the world. However, Travis Scott and Carly, abortions of life. I mean, that just should not have been on anyone's bingo card whatsoever. And the best thing that happened out of all of that, Hogan's heel turn. Hands down, that is head and shoulders above any of those. I mean, Cena's heel turn, amazing. The fact that you're turning someone who's been a face for 20 plus years and turning into a heel, but the fact that it hasn't been, it's not, I know it hasn't been running as long as Hogan's, but Hogan, that NWO stuff, Voodoo Child, you know, just coming out with a belt. When I'm standing next to a mountain.
Cena should have spray painted the belt.
He should have spray painted the belt. I mean, they alluded to that at the Firehouse. What is it? Firefly Funhouse.
Firefly Funhouse at WrestleMania 36. Yeah.
When he was part of the NWO in that little skit. But
In that little skit,
Hogan, hands down, best thing on that. I'm gonna go with Travis Scott as the worst.
No, I can't. Yeah, that's a tough
Travis
one to argue.
Scott's just awful.
It depends what way you look
yeah,
at it, doesn't it? And I totally get that.
I'm looking at it tongue in cheek here, but yeah, Montreal Screwjob definitely is a shitter, and even Taker's retirement's a shitter.
Oh yeah, no one wants to see that, really, do they? Interesting, isn't it?
I was just going to say rise and fall of WCW as well. I mean, that's a massive part of my childhood growing up. WCW, obviously not necessarily the rise. The rise was great because you had competition against WWE, but the fall. Oh. But then from the fall, we got all of those stars coming over to WWE, and we wouldn't have had, you know, the moments of Eddie Guerrero.
Well, he came. Yeah,
Rey
I mean, they came
Mysterio,
before the
Jericho.
end, I suppose, didn't they? But yeah.
So,
I mean,
you know, all those guys.
Well, up until before they closed, the excitement of anyone could show up on any show at any given time was. I just don't think people can nowadays can understand that. I mean, if it you know, Ravish and Rick Rude was on Raw and Nitro on the same day. Now, okay, one was taped and one was live, but just put that into perspective. Could you imagine Hangman Page being on AEW and then showing up on Raw or whatever? Yeah. I mean, it's just you just can't. And that happened week after week after week. You know, Big Show, people going to WCW. I mean, they didn't even have to be marquee people. I remember just tuning into Nitro and like all of a sudden Marty Jannetty would be in a match or Rick Martel would be there, and you're just like, oh wow, it's familiar, but it was just. Oh my god, it's crazy. It's a tough one. And ECW changed, you know, wrestling to a degree. So it's a difficult one, very very difficult one. But yeah.
So thoughts on the new show then?
I like it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it. I think we should tackle stupidity more often.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure. I can't wait for Andy to sit down and do one of these because he will definitely have some serious opinions about certain things on there. But yes, as always, we thank you for joining us here. Smash the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe, share. We love you all.
And comment.
Join us. Yeah, well, and comment, obviously.
Tell us.
Then we don't have to cherry pick stuff. You leave comments.
You send us the comments and we will tell you what we think. We'll tell you how stupid you are if you comment.
Indeed.
And you can tell me how stupid I am.
Yeah, or we'll tell you how amazing you are. There's a few dumpster opinions on there, I would say, or hot takes. But yes, tune in for all our videos. We've got recaps for both Evolution, Saturday Night Main Event, and our normal weekly show. Plus, this will be going out, well, I guess at the weekend. And then we'll be back next week. So thank you for your time, guys. We appreciate you. Adios, amigos.
We the people.
We the